Well, I think no,
Honestly,
no, 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 no. You say it. You say what you need to say. Because listen,
honestly,
I watched the trailers. You had fun in your own little way. I'm sure.
honestly, I can't believe because I was gonna be like, I didn't think Sony was going to be that great. I was like, I liked Microsoft's thing, and I liked it enough that I said, you know what, Sony's probably not going to beat that. I just don't think they will. And I'm not sure what Nintendo's going to do. Who knows? They'd have to really try hard to beat these guys. That was my thought going into all of this. It's kind of surprising that Nintendo really could just show Smash Bros. Only now and still have a good chance of winning. And I find that so weird because I was I don't know. Sony was just
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Technically, that's true because if not bad, then everything else is just like, yeah, that was good. Um, but especially since despite everything else, if here's the thing, if Microsoft didn't already get their hands on one trailer, if if Sony came up with this kind of Kingdom Hearts trailer, just like outside of nowhere, it's like people would be like, "Oh, that was their saving grace." But even though this trailer is completely different from the Microsoft trailer and is really good, because we already have the Microsoft one for the same game, it doesn't save as much as it should.
okay. That's all well and good, but you didn't watch the presentation, and so I mean, sure, what you're
Oh
saying
wow!
is,
So I'm saying that there was no chance whatsoever.
I mean, okay. And this is the weird E3 thing. So you remember in the first video, the Microsoft video that you should all watch, where I said that, and if I didn't say it, I must have implied it. It was a good presentation in terms of games. It's a good conference, but in terms of convincing people to buy an Xbox, it was bad at that because they were all multi-platforms. So Microsoft looked good, even though they're not really benefiting from this. Sony had the opposite problem. Like Square Enix conference was just a bunch of Sony exclusives. And a lot of huge Sony exclusives. There's so many Sony games. Sony probably has the most exclusives at this E3 so far out of the big three. But their conference was so bad that no one's gonna be like, I feel so energized. So as a conference, it was terrible. But they have the games. There's someone who's like, I can ignore this conference and talk about the games. I'm excited for these games. I saw these games. Then yes, Sony had a good conference. For me, I and let's get to the conference now. And this will be my monologue, where you probably just respond. But the conference starts with someone playing a musical instrument for like 5 minutes.
Oh wait! I I have a picture of that guy playing it, but it's playing it beside the trumpet girl.
That's great, but playing for like 5 minutes, and they're like, "Oh wow, this," and you realize that the place they're in that looks like a church, and everyone's like, "What is going on with the cult of Sony stuff going on here? That's kind of weird." But they realize that the entire set is based on the game they're presenting, which was Last of Us. And was like, "Well, you made your entire games conference around one game. That seems kind of weird." And then the game starts, and they go through all the cinematic stuff and gameplay. And I'll get to that game. I'll get to the gameplay later. I'm just talking about the structure of the conference. And so,
Wait, you're talking about Last of Us now, right?
the Last of Us. And so
Okay.
they do
Just want to be
an
make sure
extended Last of Us display, extended Last of Us presentation, and then after that ended, they stopped the entire conference, and then cut to a bunch of people talking about the conference because apparently each game has its own room, and so the entire audience was being moved from that room to another room so they could sit down in that room so that they can listen to someone play another musical instrument for another set of 5 minutes, just so that they can show another game. And
That
so,
sounds like one of the greatest things. Just like, if it weren't for the fact that actually watching that would be cringy, it's like just hearing about it is actually
hearing
quite
that,
beautiful.
yes, it's, and so, I mean, it sounds, the concept sounds great, sure. So, we're just listening to people talk for like 5 minutes while nothing's going on, like very early into the conference, the pace is completely destroyed. So we can hear some Sony heads talk and have this Sony guy say, "Yeah, don't expect any new presentations. We just have the 4 games. We're just going to talk about these 4 games. Don't expect any new revelations." And I was like, "Why would you say that? Right in the section where people are already angry at the broken pace, you're going to tell them to not get excited? It's so stupid." So during that conference thing, they're like, you know what? Let's show some premieres. Let's show a commercial for Battle Royale, Black Ops 4, and a montage of games coming to PS4. It's like, why are you doing this? And then, so they went back to show, and the first game they showed was a third-person shooter type over-the-shoulder game. They all filed back into the new place to show another third person over the shoulder type game. It's like, ugh, it's just awful. And then
No, you don't understand. You don't understand. It was their effort at trying to get the audience to be active.
and that's the thing. I think that
It's their
Sony,
part.
I think that Sony just got too smug and disappeared up their own asses and said, "We are so awesome. Here's how awesome we are." Oh shoot! It's the same thing that happened last year, where they felt so smug that they didn't have to join into crossplay. It's pretty much just Sony has gotten too smug because they're winning.
I mean, here's the thing, especially considering who you're talking to. I have a track record of coming up with incredibly crazy ideas. And just being all like, okay, give them a try, and more often than not, you pansies don't do them. But either way, I still have the idea of where doing so in front of an audience makes me a bit pensive about it, especially considering this is like super huge. So unless I have an already track record of one of those types of ideas already working, then I would probably like cool off for a bit, realize I'd have to play it safe, like I did during that drama club incident that we would not talk about. So yeah, even then, just like knowing what they pulled, like it's not even that it was too extravagant that it didn't work. Like, what was the point?
There was no point, as in, and that's the thing. And I felt like they just scrapped it because they started showing more and more trailers each time, like because they did move a second time. At least I think they did, and they went to show. I'm not sure what the next transition was because I was so annoyed that I left the stream to complain on Facebook. But basically, it's the third after the third musical instrument thing ended up with Death Stranding, and people are like, "Oh, finally, Death Stranding gameplay!" And then Norman Reedus walks for 5 minutes, and then the gameplay ends, and they're like, "Hey, that's the game." Like, it's so just like it felt like nothing happened because we already.
And then furthermore, Squidward came on stage and started dancing to the talent show. That was the last straw.
Like, basically, they they knew, and that's the thing. You're excited to see what these games are about. So I can tell, okay, that's fine. You're excited, you get to see more of the games. But because you know everything that's going to happen, but because these games are so far off that they are just still mainly going to be, you're seeing a cinematic trailer, or you're seeing third-person shooter gameplay, which you've seen 1,000 times. You know how it looks. You know how it is. You're not seeing anything interesting. So you're just there to see the story,
Yeah, you
but
know
then
what? You know what would be
that's just seeing another
interesting
cutscene.
if you know what would be interesting if they're just like, oh, I'm sorry, just like we gotta move, and then they move, and like the seat, like the theater is dark, and then like they turn on the lights and it's filled with like old mascot memorabilia, and it turns out they're bringing up some mascots back. First, they show a new Spyro trailer or something like that. Because that's what I do. If
Yeah,
I knew I
something
had
like
something
that.
to actually work with.
Yeah, do something that makes all the moving actually work for your conference rather than against it. Like, and get into the gameplay. And I'm not saying these games are going to be bad, because I'm sure all of the games are great, and a lot of people love the gameplay and all look exciting. But like, they shouldn't have. The first two games they showed felt like they played too similarly. Because both games you're like walking through a forest in over the shoulder third person style. Like you should have split those up, put Spider-Man in between them so you don't feel like nothing's happening. And Last of Us 2 looks
I
so
guess we're starting
similar.
with Last of Us 2 then.
If we're doing what?
I guess we're good because I have this list on a disjointed point. If you're going to talk about similarity, I guess when we actually get into it, we're going to start with Last of Us 2.
Oh no, I guess we'll start with this where I it looked so similar to Shadow of the Tomb Raider that I'm like, did I open the wrong stream? Is it just replaying Tomb Raider footage from earlier today? Let me check, because it just looked the same to me, and I
Well,
wasn't sure, and then she started using her bow and arrow, and I'm like, this does not make me more sure what games it is, and eventually I realized it was Last of Us.
well, here's the thing. Two things about that. I don't really care about Last of Us that much, even more so this time. But it's so much so that they haven't showed any zombies at all. You know, the whole main conflict thing, and they just showed some of the unturned human villains, which was a thing in the first game. That's fine, but to have that be the trailer when that seems like the most generic thing ever, just like, okay, that was a bad idea. But something that I did like was the fact that everything felt more claustrophobic. Like these guys, like if you, despite the fact that Ellie was taking damage left and right, just like, well, actually, that's not so much despite, more like because it's more of a thing where it seems, and I might be wrong later, I might eat crow, who knows? Just like it seems that the AI with how they work in terms of their placement and everything, if things are consistent, then this game is going to be truly perilous.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like it looks like it might actually just be hard, and I kind of want that.
yeah, that's true. I don't play many. I want to say any, but I'm not sure. I don't play many third-person shooters, but I hear that they can get a bit easy. Like Uncharted is super easy
Easy or incredibly repetitive.
because so much of what you do is like given to you. Like there'll be places where you're trying to walk across a narrow pathway high up in the sky, but you can't actually fall off. Stuff like that. So if Last of Us 2 was hard, that'd be a good change. I mean, Death Stranding looks like it's going to be hard, but hard to
I
understand.
didn't actually bother watching Death Stranding because, especially the type of game that it was, and knowing my tendencies to internalize these things at night, I think I
Oh
leave
yeah,
that to you.
it's all creepy, and I Fate Worse Than Death is something that just gets me, and so I
Well,
can't.
yeah, Mr. Infinite Portal Space thing.
All right, yeah. So basically, yeah, I can't forget the guy in the earlier trailer who was trying to kill himself rather than get captured by that thing, and I'm like, nope, that's burned in me forever now. Thanks, game. Thanks. I mean, the story looks interesting.
But people are, from what I see from the Twitter response, because people are actually losing interest because they're not seeing anything substantial in terms of direction of where it's
Well,
going.
yeah, that's true. You can't just keep saying, "Wow, it's crazy. What's going on?" for so long. Just tell people. Just even if you're not telling them everything, people are guessing what the game is about, and that can't work for like 3 years. That just can't work because right now we just saw walking, and then he walked through some invisible people who smell fear. What I don't know what they're smelling, and it looks like people did get me some more insight. Like the baby it seems like if you get touched by the things, you age really rapidly. So maybe the baby is just a copy that ages into you after the older you dies, or something. Something. Who knows? Someone said death and birth have been reversed, but that doesn't make any sense. I have no idea what that could possibly mean. So I mean, I do have an idea of what it could mean, but just tell people something. Because every single
Yeah,
trailer
like
has
especially in terms of mechanics.
every single trailer has completely different characters. So like, what's going on?
Or maybe that's what they want you to think. Ooh.
They don't want us to think anything. Except, man, that was crazy. Baby butt. And that's that.
Anyways, on to Control. It looks interesting,
That was
but
the
I
best
hope
thing.
they really focus on the application of the mechanics. Like, I hope they really just
And that was
go
my
far
problem.
with it.
Control is like I said, I think that was the best thing of the night. But it went too far for me. Like, a whole thing about a shifting pulse sounds interesting, but it almost seems to shift pixel by pixel rather than just like rooms and walls. It just shifts completely. I'm like, going too far for me. But it still looks
No,
cool.
well, okay, that's not what I meant. That's more of a style of how it's doing it. Because I think either can work. When I'm saying that, I'm talking about mechanic wise. I'm not saying I need a next Portal or something, but I mean that I don't want to go throughout a game just like, okay, you could throw this. Oh, you're in a very specific place. I guess you could now. You need to focus and throw this. All right, that was cutscene specific or whatever. It's like I need if I need combat that makes me think on my feet about what to use and where, rather than I don't need mini strategies. I need like medium-sized strategies.
It does
Where I
look
can't
like
just rush in.
it does look like the entire world is destructible in a way. The way the
Yeah, but I also want not. I also want to make sure that it's hard because I've really just for some reason, despite maybe it's because of the people I'm watching playing these games, but I'm seeing things either get too repetitive, too easy to break, or too easy to just figure out. Too easy to just figure out. Well, that's technically too easy to break. Just too easy in general. And with only just a few sections where it's good because it's hard, and a lot more sections where it's annoying because it's hard. I just want a game that makes me think of my feet and punishes me sufficiently for doing something gung-ho. I wouldn't say just so I can watch Aaron go through it and blame the game on everything, because what kind of motivation is that? But, like, something that doesn't fully go into puzzle games standpoint, but it's like, I need to weigh my choices.
yeah, but the premise sounds interesting, even if the trailer wasn't very interesting to me. I feel a lot of trailers this year felt the same. So I don't need another monologue over the dystopian city. Well,
Where they talk about the strength of humanity.
yeah, and some lady sings a very emotional song, and the screen goes do 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 do, and it's just, yeah, I've seen this 10,000 times. I am so bored, and that's another thing.
I mean, at least the Fallout one had Country Roads, which was actually a really amazing song.
The Fallout one was
And the
good.
Tomb Raider song was actually kind of cool too.
Actually, speaking about the Fallout one, a big problem I had with I guess maybe after we'll probably do a small video about E3 in general after Nintendo goes, but I felt like there's so much repetition this year. Like I felt like I saw every trailer 2 or 3 times. But yeah, we saw the cut.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
Yeah,
like a trailer style that has developed over the years that just everybody's doing it.
no, I mean the same trailer. Like I watch Xbox and they'd have Fallout 4 trailer, and then Bethesda would repeat the exact same trailer. I'm like, why? Just make a different. Why would you do that? Like Square Enix did it.
Oh,
Where
that's what you mean. Because I was talking about in style, which I also think is kind of getting the
well,
same.
yeah, the style is getting too similar as well. But like, we'd see Square Enix talk about Tomb Raider, Just Cause, Kingdom Hearts, and like I've seen all 3 of these trailers already, and I'm going to see some of them again later on. It's just, so yeah, Sony.
Well, that means the Kingdom Hearts one this time was completely different, but are we going to talk about that now or save that till last? Well, actually, no, I want to save Spider-Man till last, but...
Oh, say what
yeah.
you're saying then. I don't have much
Okay,
more to
so-
say, except, I guess, you probably could comment on the new worlds you've seen.
Well, here's the thing. It's great to see Jack again, and with the fact that I liked At World's End, even though people are retroactively saying it's not as good. But just like the fact is that at this point in time, Jack is dead and in limbo. So I wonder how they're going to talk about that. And secondly, I like that they actually did give Sora, Donald, and Goofy
Different forms.
this time. Yeah, different clothes this time. Because some worlds that happens, some worlds that doesn't. I feel like I feel like in the realistic world that really should have happened when Pirates of the Caribbean was in Kingdom Hearts 2. But something I'm like wondering is, well, first off, Luxord is back and he's been Norted because everybody's in Kingdom Hearts. There are three types of people. You're either Xehanort, Sora, or belong to a Disney franchise. And Kingdom Hearts fans will know what I mean by that.
I'm assuming there are lots
So
of clones and alternate versions of characters.
There are clones, alternate versions of characters existing two characters existing in one body, one character implanting their parts of their soul in other characters, stuff like that. So that's what the joke is. Everybody's either Sora, Xehanort, or they belong to Disney.
This franchise sounds confusing, and people like to pretend
I
that
know
the
what you're
Zelda-
going to bring that up.
People like to pretend that the Zelda timeline is hard when they're just lazy.
Here's the thing: Kingdom Hearts' timeline was only hard because of the games had you going all over the place in terms of consoles. The fact is that they have a remastered stuff that just like puts the stuff that you need right there and puts the tedious games, and except that Recoded wasn't really that bad, guys, and relegates those to story only, just for help. Like, that's great. So now you no longer have any excuse. The only game in Kingdom Hearts that is hard to understand is Dream Drop Distance. And that is purely because they decided to mix Dreams in Dreams with time travel. So, yeah, that was just a terrible idea. But back on topic, it's great seeing Jack, but the issue is that with Luxord, that scene is almost completely identical to when Luxord called Parley in Kingdom Hearts 2, in the same world, to Jack, with Sora and everybody on board. And Jack also explained the rules that they can't do anything because he called Parley. Just like, why are you doing that again? Did that not already just happen? That doesn't seem like a callback. That seems like laziness. But somehow it doesn't make sense to be laziness because it just seems weird that they really wouldn't think of anything else. But I don't know. Maybe around the scene there will be a callback, or somebody will say deja vu or something like that. But Kairi is adorable now. Like, I'm glad. Of course, when at the end of Dream Drop Distance, where she like finally got some focus, other than being basically a plot device. Um, she not only does she look adorable, but she's also hanging with Axel, and they're both training to become Keyblade wielders. So I think they'll develop a really nice kinship, even though Axel tried to kidnap her in Kingdom Hearts 2. Wonder if they're ever going to bring that up. And also, why is everyone wearing plaid? Just like, what is this with current anime modern characters? It's like, it's plaid, just like Final Fantasy 15 or whatever. This is the Kingdom Hearts. Like, is plaid in now? I'm not in the fashion world, so I don't know. But it's like even Carrie had like plaid parts of her outfit. It's like, what's going on?
They have great fashion sense.
I mean, they look great, but it's just weird how that's just suddenly a thing. Also, I think they're revealing too much.
Oh, Well, it depends on how
It's
big
a
the game
thing where-
is.
Yeah, here's the thing. Somebody told me that if, like, the Aqua reveal was, like, something to help kick off the seriousness of the story in, like, the first few hours, then there's, like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But just, like, we know, like, Scene is back, we already know Briggs running around, Marluxia was already shown there, and now we already know Luxord is there, and because we know of how the series works, we know that these guys are all Norted. So it's just like, okay, so you've already revealed that. It's like they're also just showing off the different worlds. Like, I kind of want them to stop at this point. Just like, okay, we've had enough.
We're
That's
probably
fine.
just going to get one more trailer during the Game Awards or something. If not the Game Awards, then whenever they please, and they just releases in January. Nobody wants to release anything this autumn because Red Dead Redemption, Black Ops 4, and Battlefield 5 are all coming out in like the same month, and everyone's like, yeah, we're not gonna deal with that.
Yeah. Also, it's surprising that despite all these story bits and everything, Xehanort himself has not actually shown up. It's really weird.
Maybe that's the thing to wait for.
Maybe, because I wonder I truly, truly wonder and what the final boss of Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be like. Like, I could only imagine. But, yeah. I think they're revealing too much, so I'd say to cool it, if they're going to do one more trailer, maybe like put like 1-2 new things in it. Just expand on what you've already shown, and that's all I need. Everyone's going to buy the game. Just like you've already sold us. Just stop.
Exactly. They're probably going double time because they don't have anything else to advertise.
I guess, but especially since we have unless just like people like say they're going to delay it again. But just like between all of that, we have a release date. Like a definite release date this time, and you already managed to hook so many people in. Because if you ever see like the reaction, somebody finally made that big enough scale reaction mashup of the Kingdom Hearts trailer stuff, and when just like people were already screaming so many times in the trailer, you've already got them, and then you show them Aquanort. And it's like you just like everybody exploded. There's a guy who I think passed out. So yeah, you've already got us. Just leave things to surprise. Don't make it Pokemon Sun and Moon, please. In terms of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what else we got? Oh yeah, Resident Evil 2. I'm going to be frank.
When you mentioned that, basically that's what I was about to say in that. The first half was bad because of what I mentioned, but once they slowed down and just said, let's stop playing around and just show some video games, it got less bad. And so the second half of the conference was much stronger than the first half. And I think Resident Evil 2 was probably the point where things changed for people. They're like, okay, this is actually a decent conference.
Well, the thing is about Resident Evil is that I'm only really interested in 4 because of the action and stuff you get away with it. And because it's less of a horror thing and more of an action point at that action thing at that point. Also I hear 5 is bad. But or was it 6? No. The one where they're in Africa I hear people don't like. But the thing is that this gives another opportunity to do the story over with actually good and presentable voice direction, and also probably some reworking of the character to fit closely to how they would be to develop into the characters in the sequels, because there was a bit of a disconnect with that.
Yeah, a bit.
So it's interesting, but I'm not interested in the franchise as a whole, so it's fine. And what else we have?
Let me check something.
Okay, so
Because
before we get to Spider-Man, like, what do you have?
that's time I'm about to check. God of War. Oh, new game plus.
God of War, what?
I'm scrolling through the announcements. Talk about Control, it looks cool. The Rick and Morty trailer was awful. Like, people were already annoyed, and then just go, wow, I'm bathtub land. Here's my bathtub. Burp. It's not funny. It's just not funny. I mean, I'm fine with Rick and Morty, but it just wasn't the time to hear this. It just didn't work, really. Like, it's funny because other humorous trailers worked. The Cyanide and Happiness Battle Royale trailer worked. It was actually great. The South Park trailer works, but this just didn't at all. And that's probably it for me. Oh, also
Well,
the amazing bait and switch, which was a part of what everyone didn't like. Oh wow! From Software Go, it's PSVR, and everyone was super excited for Bloodborne 2. And then they're like, "Oh, here's a VR game where you live in a house."
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. Just between all of that, oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I just saw something about the new Sonic movie that's just making it looks like it's going to be the worst thing ever. I'm just hoping
just
and
tell
praying
me.
it's not going to
Say it. Say what it is.
Well, first off, there's apparently, like, I think a dynamic with a police officer now, where it seems well, from what this is, people are thinking that this information makes it seem like it's a buddy cop film, but some people are saying that's not enough information to really say that.
A weird decision. But yeah, let's get back to Sony. Let's end with Spider-Man. It's dumb because the Spider-Man E3, the E3 Spider-Man thing that they did was like, oh wow, Spider-Man and Arkham Asylum. And then after the conference ended,
I know what you said.
After the conference ended, they showed all the cool New York City web slinging. Like, why would you do that? Why are you guys so bad at this?
Maybe it's a rookie team, like in charge of marketing. But my thing is, like, with the actual thing, first off, those mooks are dead.
Oh yeah.
Because everyone knows that Spider-Man holds back his normal strength when fighting normal people, but those guys are dead. This is Spider-Man 2 level of air juggling. In terms of, because Spider-Man 2 is a phenomenal game, and its combat is also hilarious because you can just keep guys in the air, sling them higher, keep guys in the air, just like for as long as you can. And depending on how many punches or whatever, it just like maybe they're still alive. Who knows?
It's hard to hold back when you're ripping a door off of its hinge, flinging that door through the air, and slamming it on someone. You can't really hold back when you do that.
Well, here's the thing.
when you grab someone and throw them into a wall and the wall starts breaking.
No, it's my favorite. My favorite is when he kicked a guy so hard he went up like 20 feet in the air, jumped up to that guy, slung him around, kicked him into a cell at incredible speed. It's like, no, that guy's life does not exist anymore.
And I like how all the other moves are like, yeah, but we can take him. They just see him flip flop.
Yeah, again, just like we've been let out, and our immediate instinct is not to run, but to try and fight the Spider-Man.
Also, people are like, where did all the Sinister Six get their costumes? I'm assuming someone must have given them. Because it seems weird that they just came out of prison. I am the Rhino. I was like, why do you have that?
Yeah, it was weird, but the fact is that because they were already gathered together, it was like somebody must have like supplied them together. But at the same time, that means that there should have been an alert way before this happened, because none of them are good at stealth takedowns unless Mr. Negative got in there. No, Mr. Negative wasn't even there to begin with. He came in on a helicopter. Also, Mr. Negative is here. I didn't know how to feel about that. In terms of a Sinister Six lineup.
I mean, it does look good, like, in terms of...
Dude, the combat flow, the flow of how he moves
in terms
is exactly what I want.
It looks amazing. Like, they definitely gave him as many moves as possible. He has so many different moves. Just kept showing new moves to the whole thing.
My only potential issue. Also, the humor. Again, I love it I love Spider-Man game humor. It's so great. Spider-Man humor is one of the best humors, just like out of these kind of things for me. But the only thing is that I wonder, with everything, when these kind of things happen and everything's flying around, how automated are these sections? Because it seems like if they're not too automated, then you could be blindsided because you're swinging it at stuff at trajectories that you couldn't reasonably understand at that point at that speed. And if they're too automated, they're just cutscenes.
The entire boss battle with the Shocker, I'm sure that's not his name. Shocker.
That is not his name. That's Electro, you plebeian.
Yeah, Electro, the entire boss fight with Electro looks scripted. There's a point where when things...
I think this is at the beginning of the game too, so, you know.
When things look so awesome, like how things are flying everywhere and crushing and everything looks awesome, sometimes it looks so good that you're taken out of it because you're like, okay, this is obviously not gameplay then. And just seeing them, just that whole trip around that prison and everything going up that huge thing, and it's just like, how much of this are you actually doing? Or are you just pressing left, right? And just all these cool things are going on screen while it happens. I'm not sure. Like that entire boss fight, I just felt it was.
Yeah, this is something where I think the demo testing, like if I was actually at the place would do some demo testing, I think that would actually reveal a lot.
Okay then. A giant spider just walked right next to me, and my life decided to leave. So I'm about to spray this thing and kill it. Anyways.
Wait, don't say that out loud.
Yeah.
They live in a society.
That's true. There are a lot of spider advocates here, but there's no way for me to get this outside. Sorry, guys. So, well, maybe there is. I'll try.
He says that like he would actually attempt that.
Whoops!
I mean...
Oh, no, something flew in front of my face. I don't know. Just...
And you thought it was a spider? Wow. How thematic that we were talking about Spider-Man and this guy's just like, hey, Spider-Man.
You know, I can't kill this spider now.
Yeah, because he's going to kick you 20 feet in the air.
I should try and I should be getting bitten by this spider, or this spider's going to.
And then it turns out to be the spider that gives you a 4 hour long painful erection, then kills you, which actually exists.
Oh, Fantastic spider. The thing is, the spider's going to rip off my door and then slam it on me, but I won't die.
No, that's what I said. 20 feet, you're going to be kicked 20 feet in the air. With the spider is going to stay at the exact same size. Just tap you and you're going to be sent flying. And then it's just going to spin away.
Yep. It's a good.
Oh man, this is perfect timing.
Yeah, but yeah, the Arkham Asylum gameplay looks fine, but people are like, wait, how is that? But then everyone saw the outside New York stuff, like, cool, it looks cool. We've said everything we wanted to say. I don't have anything else to say, so that's that for me.
Spider-Man's this game is the type of game. Well, if game consoles weren't so damn expensive now, this is the type of game that would definitely be in my book of I would buy a console for this.
Oh, that's good. You know the game I would back console for, that's coming tomorrow.
There's almost no bad console Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But yeah, it's just like they're only like maybe mediocre and archaic. But there's no from what I know, the recent ones were doing really well too. Shattered Dimensions, even though I hear Edge of Time was kind of a step backwards, it wasn't bad. But yeah, just like the console, in terms of console stuff, not the handheld ports, of course, just the console stuff, I hear really good things about it every time.
So I guess we'll have a good thing next time too.
Yeah, but hopefully I could be a part of it when it comes out, instead of always late.
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to get you to stop it, just keep continuing.
You're talking about the spider, right?